What's up, everybody? Welcome to CampingGearTV.com. I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Josh.
And it's been a little while. We've had a gap in between our last interview, but today we've got a really good interview coming up for you guys. Who are we talking to?
Today we're talking to Matt Moniz, and Matt is one of the National Geographic Adventurers of the Year for 2010 for his 50 summits in 50 states, which he did in 43 days. And he's 12 years old.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, and it's a really pretty cool and inspiring story. And let's get right into it. All right, so we're here today with Matt Moniz, and Matt is up for the National Geographic Adventurer of the Year for 2010. Matt, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and congrats on the nomination for Adventurer of the Year. And how did that come about? I'm curious.
So, I began serious climbing when I was 9 at Everest Base Camp. And then about 1 year later, in 2008, I did 3 of the 7 summits.
Okay.
So June, Mount Elbrus in Russia, Kilimanjaro in July in Tanzania. And then lastly, December, Cerro Aconcagua in Argentina.
Wow, that's awesome. And so, when you decided to get into climbing, was it just, you had some friends that were doing it or some family? How did you initially decide, I want to go climb Everest? It's not something a 9-year-old usually does.
Right. So me and my dad actually, he got an invite from one of his business partners. And my dad was like, I don't really want to leave the family for that long.
Okay.
So he was like, he asked me if I wanted to go along, and I'm like, sure. So our original plan was I was only going to go to Namche Bazaar, so that's like halfway up.
Okay.
But I actually wanted to go all the way up, so we went all the way, and I felt great, and I really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun.
Awesome. So the accomplishment or your big journey in 2010 that got you the Adventurer of the Year nod was that you set a speed record for summiting the 50 highest points in every U.S. state. So 50 points in 50 states. So you started with Denali, right, and ended with Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Is that right?
Yeah, that is.
And how long did it take?
So it took us 43 days, 3 hours, and 51 minutes.
Okay. What was the previous record? Do you know?
So the previous record was set by Mike Hogan in 45 days, 19 hours, and 2 minutes.
Okay.
I believe. And then they actually drove around in a Prius.
I gotcha.
Yep.
And so you guys beat him by a solid 2.5 days, huh?
Yep.
Oh, he's got to be feeling shameful. So when you guys set out, was this something that you had focused on? You wanted to beat the record?
Well, it wasn't. We weren't actually focused on beating the record at first. It was just kind of like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Our first goal was just to get up to Denali because that's a pretty big mountain itself.
Okay.
And then we were gonna we thought about doing something called the Crescent. We kind of made up, and it's made up Denali, Rainier, Hood, and Whitney. So it's kind of like a crescent shape, but weather kind of turned us around, so we decided to knock off a bunch of other peaks.
Okay.
So I thought, well, on Rainier, the first day we got off on a wrong trail and late start, so we had to skip that day, and we had to sleep that day, and then the second day was great. We got up to Camp Muir, and then the third day, there was weather that we didn't see, and so we started climbing, and about 600 vertical feet from the summit, we had to turn down, so we're all pretty bummed, and we were going to go down, but we decided not to. So the next morning, there was at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of early. I meant late, but we found a perfect weather window. So we summited that day, and we were all feeling great and came back down that day. And then it wasn't until really the 49th peak, Granite in Montana, that I kind of knew for sure that we were probably going to make it.
Oh, wow. The 49th?
Yep.
Wow, that's...
And then also, it also takes like 3 attempts usually to get up that peak. So we were pretty lucky.
Yeah. Which one was that? Granite?
Yep, in Montana.
And that's, if I remember from your website, is that one almost totally rock?
Yep, it's the first day is like kind of slopey climbing.
Uh-huh.
I meant hiking, but the second day is full on rock climbing.
I gotcha.
So I that's probably one of my favorite peaks too.
Neat, very cool. And so was it at that 49th state that you kind of realized you were going to beat the record?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then just to step back a minute, why did you decide to even go for something this lofty, like 50 high points in 50 states in such a short amount of time?
So, me and my dad, we were climbing around, and then last summer we decided to kind of explore our backyard, and we did some Colorado 14ers. We actually did 14 14ers in 14 days.
Okay.
And then we actually did that one to raise. So my best friend Ian Hess has pulmonary arterial hypertension, so PAH, and PAH is a heart-lung disease. So the reason why we're kind of climbing for it is because the same symptoms of PAH are the same symptoms of high-altitude pulmonary edema.
Oh, really?
Yep. So it was a nice connection. And then me and my friend Ian, we go climbing a lot together, rock climbing, because he can't really go up high altitude, but he can go rock climbing. So we do that a lot.
Very cool. Very cool. So as you reflect back on the expedition, which climb would you say was the most challenging? Was it the one that you had to turn back on, or was there a different one that really pushed you and kind of, really pushed you to the brink?
Well, yeah, Denali was certainly very tough. There was super heavy packs and sleds and stuff like that. And then we got 2 weather days on that.
Yeah.
And then also we had something called the Loop of Pain, and it was the last 11 peaks. And it was Rainier, Hood, Kings, Gannett, Granite, and Bora Peak. So I'll just explain Kings real quick. Kings Peak, it's 32 miles round trip, and if we were gonna beat the record, we had to do it in 1 day. So we're like all fired up for it, and we leave at about 11 o'clock, and then we actually just ate a huge dinner at Salt Lake City. So we left at about 11 o'clock, and we hiked through the night, and we stopped around 6 o'clock we just laid on the ground for an hour. Kind of slept. And then we got down around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a hard peak, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that sounds very challenging. If we can talk about Denali for another minute, I was real interested to see how you guys did that when I was looking through stuff on your website, which is climb7.com, by the way.
Yep. Yeah.
The Denali part of it actually was multiple days, right? And
yeah.
The countdown started when you hit the summit. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it took us, I think, 10 days to get to the top of Denali. Mm-hmm. So we actually got to the top pretty darn quick, and then to get down, it took us 2 days.
Okay.
But we were really booking it, and we had skis too. And then we also had to wait an extra 2 days at the bottom because of weather. The runway was not stable, and they couldn't get planes in then.
Gotcha. So with the skis that you had on the way down, that's interesting. Did you carry the skis halfway up the mountain and then ski halfway down, or how far up did you carry them?
We carried them up to 12 camp.
Okay.
I think, and after that it gets a little bit steep and it's kind of hard to ski down.
Right. So it's a 20,000 foot peak, right?
Yeah. Okay. A little bit like 21 almost.
Okay. Cool.
And then also on the Loop of Pain. Yeah. It's just a side thought. It took us it was 2/3 of the trip, and it took like of the total mileage, and the total mileage was 288 miles, and then our total vertical was 101,649 vertical feet. So it's like climbing Everest 5 times.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I mean, very few people can say they've ever done anything like that their entire lives, let alone when they're 12. So on the trip, what were the logistics like? You know, I know you guys had a van you drove in, but how many people were involved? You know, did you guys sleep in the van all the time? Did you ever get a chance to camp out? Tell me about that stuff.
So, well, the logistics, the weather was the biggest factor. We actually had like a core map planned out, but we kind of followed to it, but we also cut off pieces and added pieces on because of weather storms. And then, so we had Ben Thompson as one of the drivers. He's a film student from CU and an REI employee. Right. And he climbed a fair amount of peaks with us. We had also David Holmberg from CSU, and he's the president of the outdoor program. And he actually climbed around the mid-40 number of peaks with us. So he actually did a lot.
Okay.
And then we also had Joel Gratz from Colorado Powder Forecast. And he's a meteorologist, and we invited him to go, and he was only going to go for like 2 peaks, but he decided to stick around for almost all of them.
Gotcha.
And so I don't think we actually could have done it without him. He told us a lot of the weather windows, and like I remember in Pennsylvania, we were looking at this iPad app that he had, and looking at storms and trying to dodge them and stuff. Wow. So it was pretty fun. And then with camping, there's 2 other people. There's 2 pilots from Red Bull flight team that donated a plane to us, and they flew us around the Great Lakes.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then with camping, we camped a lot on Denali, a lot of winter camping and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we also did a lot of camping on the Loop of Pain. Uh-huh. There was Rainier, Kings Peak, and stuff like that. So we actually did a fair amount of camping. We did sleep in the van a lot, but we definitely did a lot of camping.
Very cool. Just curiosity, what kind of food were you guys eating along the way the whole time?
We were actually eating, my favorite snack food is 2 Pringles, and in the middle is a piece of salami. And then for lunchtime, I'd usually eat little chicken and pita pockets and candy bars.
So it was a lot of the same thing.
Yep, and then also on the rest days, we basically ate whatever we could. We were so hungry on those days, so we just ate everything. Right,
yeah. So let's talk about gear. You've got some stuff behind you. What was some of the gear that throughout the trip really just stood up, and handled the conditions and really stood out to you?
So, here, mind if I grab some of these?
Yep.
So this is the first one that I'll show you. It's my Denali boot that I used on Mount Denali and then Hood and Rainier.
Okay.
So it's surprisingly, so we took it up to the Alaskan range in April, so it's pretty cold up there, as you can imagine, and it definitely stood warm, and it's super comfortable. And then we also even took it to Hood, and when we were coming down, it was like 60 degrees, and you can ventilate it, and it's not that, and it can cool down a lot if you ventilate it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a best of both worlds, and then it's super easy to get crampons on, like when you're going for a flash,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Who makes that boot?
Oh, sorry. It's Zomberlin. It's a Italian boot company, and it's just starting to get big in the U.S.
Very cool.
This is my Petzl helmet. It's called the Petzl Meteor. It's the lightest helmet that Petzl makes, and it's probably one of the lightest helmets on the market. It's like a one-hit, one-time thing, but it's super light and it's super safe too.
Very cool.
So, it has nice chin straps and stuff. I like that a lot.
Yep.
And let's scoot back a little bit. This I have one. This is actually my dad's. I have one almost identical to this one.
Okay.
But so it's called the Power Stretch hoodie from Mountain Hardware. So it's kind of cool. It has this balaclava on the top. It zips all the way up to your nose.
Oh, that is very neat.
And then we actually lived in this for like 2 months
Wow.
In Alaska and all the other places.
Yeah.
So you can wear it under a bunch of stuff and it'll keep you really warm, or you can just wear it alone and it'll be fine. And then it has nice thumb things and stuff, a lot of pockets.
With the zipper on the balaclava, does that does it have like a lining on the interior so that the zipper is not like, getting metal on your mouth?
Yep, right here,
Right.
So yeah, it goes all the way up to your nose, and it's really, really nice.
Very cool.
You don't have to change into a balaclava or something.
Yeah. And
then
Mountain Hardware is one of your major sponsors, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And then I have one more piece of here. So this is a backpack that I use. It's Mountain Hardware, and then this is actually a smaller version of the backpack. It's that I used on Denali.
Okay.
It's almost identical, but it's just a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
The one that I used on Denali was the BMG, and then the one I used on Rainier and stuff was this one, the dihedral.
Okay.
Okay, so I really enjoy these packs because they're really they can haul a lot, and it looks like a big hauling pack. But
yeah, it looks like it can hold a lot of stuff.
Yep, and then it can also pack down a lot. And if you're going for a summit attempt, you can take off the top of the backpack, take off a bunch of straps, and just cut it down.
Very neat.
And then it may take a little while, but it definitely shaves off a lot of weight. And then also with this, they made these especially a little bit bigger, so you can get full arm motion if you like swinging an ice axe or something.
Okay.
And the back like molds to your back almost. It's like this really nice foam.
Neat.
So yeah, I really like. These are some of my favorite gear that I used on all the peaks.
Cool. We'll have to link those things up below the video on the website. So that one was the Mountain Hardware BMG, is that right?
Yep, that one actually was the dihedral, but on Denali we used the BMG.
I gotcha. Okay, very cool. So what else is going on in your life? What can people expect to see from you next and in the coming years?
So my next project is, well, I have two that I may be working on. My main one is Upamayo, and it's in Peru in the Cordillera Blanca.
Okay.
And it's a technical peak, and it's about 19,000 feet, but it only takes you 4 days of climbing. So I'm really psyched for the technical aspect, though. There's a lot of snow climbing and rock climbing on it. Okay. So I'm pretty psyched for that. And then also Karsten's Pyramid in Papua New Guinea. I kind of want to wait on the Seven Summits a little bit, but that one seems kind of cool. Papua New Guinea, jungle. Right. I think that would be pretty awesome to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be. So one of our buddies on Twitter, Bill Urbanski, wanted us to ask you about the High Pointer Club. What's that all about?
Oh, so the High Pointer Club is actually a great place. You can go to highpointers.org, I think. And so the High Pointers Club, it's a group of people. I think it's like 3,000 members now, and they just spend all their life doing these high points of each state, and they usually people don't do it as fast as we do, but a lot of people spend like their whole life, and the High Pointers Club like they'll give you like a 25 pin. And then they'll give you a special certificate for like the 50 and a big plaque and stuff. So it's pretty cool, and you can also make plans to climb other high points with other high pointers and stuff.
So you've got to be like the president of the club by now, right?
Well, we went to the High Pointers convention in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And they honored us there, and told us our story. Okay. Their story, our story. And so they were pretty psyched about it. We talked a lot, shared a bunch of stories with them. And it's amazing how many people are in it and how many people are really psyched about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I imagine that when other kids, see this and hear about your work, they're probably going to be inspired and wonder how they can get involved in climbing and adventure sports. What kind of advice would you give other kids wanting to get into this stuff?
Well, the first bit of advice is just to get outside. Like that's the easiest way to get hooked in the outdoors. I think is just go outside. You can go in like your local park and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And then there's also a lot of opportunities. There's a few really cool groups: Big City Mountaineers, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and a bunch of other companies. And then so but there are also you can just find a group that you want, and you can just go outside with a bunch of your friends, and I think that's the easiest way to get outside.
Very cool, very cool. Big City Mountaineers, I know they do great work.
Yeah, they do.
Helping people in the city to get exposed to the outdoors when they otherwise might never get those opportunities. So, very cool.
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, one other thing you can I just popped out of my head. There is I think another one of the really cool things that you can do is read an adventure book. It might seem boring at first, but it actually is really really cool. One of my favorites is No Shortcuts to the Top by Ed Viesturs, and it was the first American to with no oxygen to climb the 8,000 meter peaks like K2 and Everest and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So those books are really really good too.
Very cool, very cool. So how can people support your efforts and stay informed of what you're up to down the road?
So there's one of the other things that's kind of tied with that question and the younger kids
Mm-hmm.
that are the kids that are watching this show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also an ambassador for Outdoor Nation, and then it's a part of the outdoor program. And then Outdoor Nation is basically trying to get kids outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and so they can kind of protect the public land and make sure that we have them later on in our generations. Because you can kind of think if kids start to just play video games. I mean, video games
Yeah.
and movies are fun, but the outdoors is much more fun. And then
Right.
anyhow, if they just start playing video games the whole time and one of them becomes president and say, wait, why do we need this national park? Why can't we just build a nice big city here?
Right.
And pretty soon people won't have any passion for the outdoors or anything like that. And then also another way, you can follow me on Twitter at Climb7Moniz or my website. Yeah, you already mentioned that, climb7.com.
Yep. Lots of cool stuff on your website, by the way. Video, lots of pictures, lots of real, thorough detail of your stuff. So I definitely recommend people check that out. Yeah. And when this episode airs, there will be probably just a few days left to vote for Matt as the Nat Geo Adventurer of the Year. And everybody can go to adventure.nationalgeographic.com to vote on that. And we wish you the best of luck on that. And really, really appreciate you coming on. What you've done is really a inspiring story, and I think is something that'll help a lot of people realize, man, I need to get out there and do something. If Matt can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Matt. As always, I am Josh, and this is Matt, and we are campinggeartv.com.
See you.